Hello, I'm back. And let me know when you're ready.
When we're ready.
What about your stream?
Oh, she's up. Val said she was started streaming. We're good.
Okay, good. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the VWBPE 2025 session about the Virtual Education Journal, known as VEJ. If you haven't heard about VEJ before, you're in for a treat. And here to tell you all about it is VEJ for yesterday, today, and tomorrow, are Roxie, Neiro, and VJ Gearbox.
Thank you, Leah. Hello, everyone. It's great to be here, especially after being away for more than 4 years. We're excited about the relaunch of the Virtual Education Journal, better known as VEJ for VEJ Out, with first our fall 2024 issue and then our winter 2025 issue, which is still hot off the press. We'd like to begin by thanking VWBPE for inviting us to share information about VEJ with you here today. My name is Rosie O'Brien Vojtek in real life and Roxie Neiro in Second Life and other virtual environments. I'm the executive editor for the Virtual Education Journal and the Chief Communication Design and Innovation Officer for Edovation, which is our umbrella company for VEJ.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be here too. My name is Bob Vojtek in real life and BJ Gearbox in Second Life and other virtual environments. I'm the design editor for the Virtual Education Journal and the CEO for Edovation.
So VEJ began in 2011 because ISTE, the International Society for Technology and Education, was pressuring the ISTE special interest groups for virtual environments, meaning SIG-VE, later to become the Virtual Environment Network Group, VEN, to publish a newsletter for our group. Being me, Volunteer Rosie, I volunteered to edit the newsletter for SIG-VE, but back in 2011, very few educators were involved in Second Life and other virtual worlds. So we decided that instead of a newsletter, we would do a journal with lots of pictures so people could read and see what was happening in Second Life and virtual worlds. Since we were all volunteers, we decided to publish VEJ 4 times a year, winter, spring, summer, and fall. That trend still continues. VEJ still relies on volunteers to submit articles for publication. In addition, after using IntelliBook to publish in Second Life for avatars to read, we decided the software was way too time-consuming and cumbersome, especially back then. Plus, it severely limited access for VEJ readers who had to be in Second Life to view it. Because we wanted to share VEJ with readers both in Second Life and beyond, we moved to publishing online using Iju. We currently have readers from around the world.
The VEJ Winter 2025 issue of VEJ is one of our latest and includes readers from over a dozen countries. Even though VEJ began as a journal to highlight ISTE SIG-VE work, it quickly branched out beyond just what SIG-VE was. Since the beginning, Rosie and I have covered all the expenses and maintained complete ownership of VEJ. We're excited to announce that we have recently acquired an ISSN number to further professionalize VEJ. The ISSN number is now on our past issues. I went through and created updates to all of our past issues and will be on all of our future issues as well.
VEJ is a non-peer-reviewed journal. Although we welcome and include research articles, our goal has always been to be practitioner-oriented. Our mission at VEJ is to share the work that educators are doing in digital and virtual environments, disseminate educational and technological research tools and best practices, document and preserve the culture, social relations, digital work, and artifacts, especially as they relate to teaching and learning, encourage and promote the work of educators and their students to effectively and seamlessly utilize digital tools, and celebrate the lives, accomplishments, and preserve the learning and legacies of educational leaders.
VEJ is interested in learners of all ages. We're always looking for educators and or their students to share what's happening in virtual environments, digital and online learning. All we want to know is what tools are being used, how do educators engage students differently in virtual environments with digital learning, What are the impacts of AR, VR, and AR and mixed reality having on education? What are the key takeaways? And what's being learned through research and best practices that can be shared with others?
We're all also interested in personal and professional learning and growth for educators as well as in other fields. For example, how are pre-service, graduate, and in-service programs providing professional learning, pedagogical, and skill-based development in virtual worlds and digital environments? What is happening outside the field of education to address professional learning and skill development while in virtual worlds or digital environments? How are AR, VR, AI, and mixed reality being utilized in virtual worlds and digital environments to train, share, and support teaching and learning in immersive experiential learning, simulations, role play, and other training activities? Because we believe in a balanced life, we're also interested in how educators are exploring virtual and digital environments for their own personal learning, well-being, social relationships, networking, and connections, and just having fun with colleagues and friends. Virtual Education Journal seeks to document and archive the work that's being done by and for those interested in education in order to share, disseminate, and replicate it around the world and throughout the metaverse. We encourage and publish articles for educators, artists, designers, builders, entertainers, librarians, and authors who are using virtual environments and digital learning to further their craft. We're always looking for ways to push the envelope of thinking in the articles we publish to share not only how best practices and effective teaching strategies are used inside the box, but also what's happening outside the box.
So we talk about VEJ through our years of publication. We only have a few minutes to share our favorite covers, themes, and articles with you. In 2020, we published a Best of VEJ series, which takes a lot of our favorite articles and puts them into a series of 6 publications. We want to make sure that you have the URLs for all those issues, including the Best of VEJ. So grab a copy. As Roxie says, enjoy every morsel and devour every bite, and share the Best of VEJ with others. You can find all of our issues of VEJ on the VEJ website, which includes all of our latest issues and updates, as well as information. You can visit our stack on VEJ with issues that are part of the issue publication format. If you have any questions about submissions or want to use any of our content in your own work, contact Roxie at one of the addresses on the slide. Be sure to put VEJ in the subject line so that we can filter it. If you, let me move to the next slide here. Sorry about that. You can find us in Second Life at our headquarters at Waterstone Shopping Village or at our office in the Nonprofit Commons. And on Wolf territories, where we have a headquarters, we have an office, even a conference center. VEJ will be coming to Kitely very soon as well. When you visit us both in Second Life and in Wolf territories, you can get a copy of any of the VEJ issues, as well as the greatest issue of EDGE at the top of the stack. You'll find information on how to write for VEJ, and we hope to see you at one of our locations.
Over the years, there have also been many motivating and inspiring articles. The hardest part is choosing a couple of articles to share with you. There's so many. We tried to select several articles to highlight for you for special reasons. So, if you're not from the Northeast, you may not realize that New York City has recently implemented a congestion pricing fee structure to lower Manhattan. So if you enter lower Manhattan from 60th Street, which is about where Central Park is, a little bit south of that, in a car, on a motorcycle, even a taxi or Uber, you're going to be charged this fee. Congestion pricing is intended to reduce the traffic in that area and encourage people to use a subway or a bus. However, in the 2016 issue, we published an article that described how Uber could potentially replace every taxi in New York City utilizing 9,000 autonomous Uber cars. There are about 13,000 taxis in New York City. A Columbia University study concluded that in such a plan, passengers would wait an average of 36 seconds for a ride that costs about 50 cents a mile. We knew we were so forward in our content. Be sure to check out the article. In our April 2015 issue, we celebrated Gentle Heron, aka Alice Kruger in real life, who was the recipient of the 2015 Virtual World's Best Practices in Education VWBPE Thinker Award. I was thrilled to interview Gentle as I so admire the work that she's been doing in Second Life as founder and president of Virtual Ability Incorporated, and I'm still in awe of the work she continues to do in Second Life to support and advocate for people with disabilities in virtual environments. Gentle, a strong leader and advocate, shared, and I quote, "Virtual Ability's mission is to enable people with a wide range of disabilities by providing a supporting environment for them to enter and thrive in online worlds." She went on to say that for some people with disabilities, virtual worlds offer the ability for them to just be like everyone else. You can read more about Gentle Heron and her virtual ability work in the April 2015 issue of VEJ.
Roxie and I are always looking forward to the VEJ conferences during the beginning years of Second Life because we were able to meet with the person that was behind the avatar at the conference. Over the years, things have changed, and there are fewer opportunities for friends in Second Life to meet in real life. Things just don't seem to be the same with being able to make that transition. But over the years, as things have changed, we've met so many people in real life and made a transition. So it's often something that we aspire to do. That whole experience comes to note in one article by Day Miami in Second Life, aka Bill Schmachtenberg in real life. He's written articles for us since the beginning of VEJ. We were fortunate when you decided to come visit us in Connecticut. Bill and I spent hours exploring an early version of the Oculus Rift, and thus the article Oculus Rift in Education was born. A friendship between our avatars and the person behind them was formed. As Bill sums it up, it was clearly a case in which a meeting in Second Life led to a fun and productive meeting in real life. You can read his article in the summer 2018 version of VEJ, issue of VEJ.
We chose this next article because it's so important that we find balance in our lives. This becomes even more complicated when you're juggling everything you need and want to do in your real life with what your avatar self wants to do virtually. During COVID, I spent at least 10 hours a day in front of a computer screen, zooming between meetings and professional learning activities with administrators in their schools, as well as writing reports, emails, and other forms of communication. The screen time got to be so much that I, Rosie, left poor Roxie in Second Life and went missing in action for almost 4 years. Thus the gap in VEJ. It got to be where I couldn't sit and look at any screen, computer, television, or a movie. What I learned from this experience is how important it is to balance your time between work and play, but the play needs to be more than just fun. From being isolated, lonely, and disconnected during COVID, virtual friendships became even more important, albeit even with all of my many Zoom meetings. Friendships are important, relationships are important, community is important. As in real life, being able to work to achieve collective and shared goals and the refinements and celebrations that follow when you achieve success are the threads that wove and bound us together as a community. One of my favorite all-time memories is from the closing social event at 2012 VWBPE conference. There's nothing more fun than a Beatles tribute concert performed by none other than Lightning Productions. That is until the large crowd, the great music, and the sparkling fireworks crashed the sim. So what did VWBPE diehards do? Why, they made their own kind of music. They did the Thriller dance. Maybe you were there. It was a great time. You can check out all the fun in the June 2012 issue of VEJ.
The winter 2016 issue, as well as a special virtual reality publication that I created as part of a course for my superintendent certification program, I introduced the concept of silicon collar workers. I described how blue-collar and white-collar jobs might be replaced with robots, algorithms, and now what we refer to as AI. At the time, most people were worried about robots replacing humans simply in manufacturing. I cited the Amazon robot competition. Also at the time, Momentum Machines, now Creative, built the first fully automated hamburger bot that could cook, build, and cut fresh toppings and condiments, delivering a finished burger entirely by a robot. But beyond manufacturing, I made the case that any rules-based job might be replaced with algorithms. And when you think about it, there are a lot of jobs that when you break them down are essentially rules-based. Quill, a company that uses algorithms to create corporate reports, among other journalistic endeavors, creates those reports from uploaded company content and data with the ability to stylize the voice of the report. Now remember, this was in 2016 prior to AI, and the Gardner Group at that time claimed that software and robots will be replacing 1/3 of the workers by 2025. Let's see.
The final article we wanted to highlight on this slide was the Expedition Central and Walkabout column that Cyrus Hush, aka Matt Poole, wrote for VEJ. He always found so many interesting things to share from his travels in Second Life. Not only was he a dedicated and talented writer, but he also became one of our best friends. We never had the opportunity to meet him in real life, but when the Second Life community learned of Matt's sudden passing, the news spread quickly through all of the digital channels. Quiet whispers, then shouts of disbelief, and then painful tears rocked our metaverse as never before. Suddenly we all realized that as in real life, our avatars were not immortal. To say we were devastated is an understatement. We all miss him greatly. You can read a tribute to Matt in the summer 2016 issue.
All of our covers have a special meaning based upon the time and the theme when the issue was published. We want to highlight a few of them now. The first issue was May 2011, and it's special simply because it was our first issue. The cover was a picture of the ISTE headquarters with all 4 Sims that we had at the time in Second Life. Roxie and I were ecstatic as we published the first issue of VEJ, originally only in Second Life. As Rosie mentioned, we used IntelliBook, Microsoft Word, and PowerPoint at the time. If you were in Second Life in 2011, you know how challenging it was to do anything and everything, especially creating a publication. The next cover we want to highlight is from the October 2012 issue, When Two Worlds Collide. The concept for this design was the intersection between real life and Second Life experiences. The cover was created from a Second Life photo at the Brandenburg Gate and a photo I took at the real Brandenburg Gate during a vacation that Rosie and I took to Europe during that summer. For us, the paradigm shift became obvious to both. Our worlds were colliding, one real and one virtual. One of the core intents of VEJ is to capture and archive virtual world events and places. There's so many great examples of real world places that are replicated in Second Life, and we hope to capture as many of those as possible in future issues of VEJ.
Mining the Craft is the cover of the June 2015 issue of VEJ. We've had several covers that represent the various gaming communities and the relationships and learning that happens while gaming, but we're highlighting this issue because the cover was designed by a 5th grade student with a picture of one of his builds in Minecraft. He and another 5th grade student also wrote an article called Mining the Craft, which became our theme for the issue. We were excited to have student voices for the first time in VEJ and want to encourage learners of all ages to write for VEJ. There are other articles from educators in this issue discussing their own experiences in Minecraft as well as other Minecraft activities with students. If you love Minecraft, the June 2015 issue is one that you will want to read. Digital tapestry is the theme of our fall 2024 issue. In this issue, we explore how each of us as individual threads, and together these threads weave the individuality of each of us with the color and complexity of our shared collaboration, experiences, and communities. As the article Weaving Our Digital Tapestry explains, quote, together these threads weave the individuality of each of us with the complexity and color of our shared collaborations, experiences, and communities to create a beautiful, artistic digital tapestry, leaving behind our digital footprints, sharing our collective legacies.
Roxie and I struggled to design the cover for the digital tapestry issue. Over 4 years of being away, we were grappling with a significant learning curve to utilize the tools that we previously used for VEJ. We were simultaneously building a new website for VEJ from scratch, updating social media, establishing a VEJ presence in Second Life and on both territories, and as we showed you previously, it was definitely a lot of work.
But fun work, and we're glad to be back, right, BJ?
Yes, I'm definitely glad to be back. We weren't quite sure what to do for the digital tapestry cover. We actually defined the tapestry theme and were getting article submissions before we had a design concept for the fall cover. We weren't just sure what the abstract idea of a digital tapestry would look like artistically as a concrete example. I had an idea in my mind of kind of a fiber optic cable with a blue-white light emanating from the ends, and that cable was used to create a tapestry. But after multiple online searches, I never found anything that resembled what I had in my mind. So I decided to see what AI could do in order to generate some kind of design for my concept as a prompt. The cover was generated with ChatGPT for the primary graphic, and then we used Photoshop tools to create it in the correct format and size for the cover. You can learn more about the process of this cover and some of the fun that we had using AI in my Covering the Cover article in the fall 2024 issue.
VJ and I really did have a lot of fun. When VJ showed me some of his possible AI generated cover designs and the words that he gave to AI to use to create the pictures, I got really excited and I wanted to try it too. It's almost Halloween, so it seemed natural to create a Halloween picture. We were using Photoshop, and I told AI to create a picture using the words blood, skeleton, bats, pumpkin, fiber optic cable, tapestry, to get the Halloween picture that you see on the screen. We tried lots of other word groups and generated some really great pictures, but one of my favorite pictures, actually one that I want to frame and hang in our house in real life, is the middle picture of a sunset. Again, using Photoshop, we gave the AI generator the words paint, strokes, splash, fiber optics, tapestry, and sunset, and we got this beautiful picture of a sunset.
The image on the right is the one that was built from that concept of a digital tapestry. We used AI generated tools to create that image and then other iterations after that. It was really an interesting design of a tapestry. We felt that the one that we chose for the cover did a better job of blending our digital concept with the perception of a traditional woven tapestry. As I said, you can see examples of the photo fun that we had generating AI images on the page, I think it's 12 and 13 of the fall issue of VEJ for 2024. We highly recommend that you check out this for yourself.
The fall 2024 issue of VEJ had 116 full pages full of pictures and articles highlighting people, places, and learning. Even though we shared the cover, we want to share a couple more articles from the fall 2024 issue. As a staff developer who follows the principles of adult learning, I've always known how important food is, and this applies in real life as well as Second Life. I was intrigued by the messages I was getting from WIC Foods and how they were using role play to create walk and eat and fine dining experiences. Jennifer Steele Wilder and co-owners Els Leahy Cat and Sam Spy Wilder are all Red Seal award-winning chefs in real life with collectively over 40 years of culinary experience. In this article, they take us behind the scenes and share the dining experiences that they're creating and their plans for the future. But be sure to read the article, Fine Dining in Second Life, of course, and take friends and enjoy some of their venues.
As we said, we're all about publishing articles about the whole person. What we want to share are some stories to help our readers relax, rejuvenate, and have fun along with educational pedagogy and learning. We have several articles in the fall issue, including Renewing Your Soul with Second Life Maestro Vida, who's one of Second Life's most popular performers. Even though he can't play the piano in real life, he says, the illusion is so real to me, I feel like I'm actually playing the piano, giving life to a dream I've always had. If you haven't heard him perform, Ari is playing here at the 2025 VWBPE conference, and he also keeps some regular hours in Second Life every week, as well as scheduling some special events. Many of you know Marley Melania, aka Mila Miller, in real life, and her whole brain health research. If you're like me, there's so much more to learn about Marley and her work, including how she uses symbolic modeling. The article by Francisco Koolhoven in Second Life, Greg Krim in real life, is filled with details and places to explore on Inspiration Island and Inspiration Bay. There's so much to do and see, so be sure to check it out. You can also hear Marley at VWBPE this afternoon at 1 p.m.
We did an interview with our dear friend and colleague, Valerian Gregg, aka Dr. Valerie Hill in real life, who has been in Second Life for over 18 years in our fall issue, and she discussed her work with the community virtual library and the transition to VWEC. We touched a little bit on mental literacy in the interview with Val in the fall 2024 issue, but in our winter 2025 issue of VEJ, we go deeper into mental literacy in part 2 of her interview, and also her article, Building a 3D AI and Mental Literacy Model in Virtual Worlds. Our VEJ winter issue takes a deep dive into the topics of mental literacy and immersive learning. And on Saturday, that's tomorrow, you can watch Val present her 3D AI mental literacy model during VWBPE 2025 conference at 8 a.m. Second Life time right here in the Hearth venue.
As we said, the theme for the winter issue is meta literacy and immersive learning. We have several examples of immersive learning in virtual environments, which are sure that you'll want to check out. They include articles about using the rainforest environment to teach language acquisition, the Dickens Project, including other immersive literature projects, and the Poland History Museum, which has a holodeck on the roof, and the carbon-free interactive real-time simulation of renewable energy, which is pretty amazing. These are all excellent examples of immersive learning, and the journal is filled with many other interesting articles.
One of the most exciting adventures BJ and I have had was hopping to Wolf Territories and meeting Lone Wolf, the founder and creator of Wolf Territories and the Lone Wolf Software Systems Limited, and Zenon Darrow, an education technologist and a great DJ, if I should say so myself, on Wolf Territories. You can read the interview I did with both of them to learn a lot about Wolf Territories and some of the amazing things that are happening on the Wolf Territories grid.
Here's an example that we're blown away by after reading the article, What Happens When a Learning Development Professional, a Training Facilitator, 2 artists, and a sculptor join forces in the metaverse. Submitted by Kim Starr and Cooper Swizzle, they explain that what began as a simple idea evolved into a groundbreaking in-world scripting kit called Animaster, a comprehensive program for controlling Animesh. After 2 years of collaboration, they were able to transform that idea into a robust, interactive Animesh experience. They share a great example of an abbreviated Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which they animated with Animaster and is available on YouTube. I was also impressed by the work that Kim Starr did on Coney Island. It was truly amazing. She did a replica of Coney Island that looked so realistic, and they discussed how they embraced AI tools to build the Coney Island. Some of those exhibits are also in the OpenSim World's Fair, but they explain how they use 3D modeling tools such as Blender, 3DAIstudio.com, and Meshi.com to create 3D models from text and images. You can read about all their work, including the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, Animaster how-to video, and lots of pictures in the winter issue of VEJ. It's beginning on page 32.
I think one of the things that was really interesting about this was that they used Google Earth and Street View images to create those 3D replicas.
Yeah, so she started with actually using those Google images, and those images were what were used to build the actual 3D model. So you can see Nathan's on the right upper picture is a photograph from Street View, and below is the model that she was able to create from it. Pretty amazing.
And there's other examples at the World's Fair. So I'm going to talk about the OpenSims World Fair. And to tell you the truth, Wolf Territories and the creative builders, sculptors, and artists that live, work, and play on the grid have knocked our socks off and left us totally in awe. We couldn't stop talking about it for weeks after we visited there the first time. Even if you've never traveled to OpenSim, the adventures to Wolf Territories to see the OpenSims World Fair is worth the trip, and a lot easier than you might think. Pages 69 to 71 in the winter issue of VEJ can tell you step by step how to hop to wolf territories using the Firestorm browser. But if you want to see the fair, you need to go soon. The Open Sims World Fair opened March 1st and was set to close on the 31st, but due to popular demand, the fair dates have been extended. The fair will remain open until April 20th. And again, we can't stress it enough. The fair is one of those things that you're not going to want to miss. So be sure to hop on over to Wolf Territories to see it before it's gone. VWEC is planning a group trip to the fair on Wednesday, April 16th at 9 a.m. Second Life time. Everyone is invited. The exhibits are amazing. The rides are so much fun, and the entire 64 sim grid will definitely not disappoint. So check out the article and the pictures of a few of the exhibits and entertainment venues starting on page 64 of VEJ. And then hop on over. Looking back over the years, there are several life-changing events that impacted educators. The threads running through these memories are great loss, strong community, and great aha moments. The first major event that we want to mention occurred before the first issue of VEJ in 2010 when Linden Labs closed the teen grid. Educators who had been working with students were devastated, and many left Second Life, some for good, moving on to their own private sims or public platforms such as Minecraft and World of Warcraft. By 2012, ISTE decided to downsize their support. The March 2012 issue of VEJ demonstrates through the words of educators just how devastating the move to Edu Island was for the survivors who were still left after the fall of the teen grid. That issue is full of fond memories of ISTE, including articles like Reflections of 6 Years of ISTE and Second Life by Jennifer Reagan IV and Scott Merrick's Too Much House, which discusses the plans for a new, smaller ISTE headquarters on Edu Island. For many of us, ISTE headquarters were where we took our first steps and became our first home. One of my first memories of ISTE Island was sitting around a campfire with friends like Maggie Lamore, who gave me a marshmallow on a stick and taught me how to find it in my inventory and wear it. What I can say, the people we met and spent time with became our family, our mentors, and together we built a strong community. We all miss those who moved on and cherish the memories we shared together as trailblazers, pioneers, and settlers on what was then ISTE headquarters.
In that same March 2012 issue of VEJ, we did a story, Why Are We Here?, and shared stories from several readers introducing their real persona with that of their avatar. In April 2014, VEJ theme introduced the concept of My Avatar and Me that introduced 8 educators and their avatars. They shared themselves and their avatars, who they are, what they do, and how they're alike and different.
For many of us, it wasn't until summer of 2016 that our avatars and us grew up. It happened when Nat Poole suddenly passed away. As I said before, one night in Second Life, a bunch of us were sitting in a hot tub, laughing and having a great time, Cyrus included. And the next night, he was gone. The news of his death on June 5th, 2016 reverberated across the metaverse. For many of us, Second Life stood still as the news spread through digital channels. Until that moment, I don't think any of us realized the magnitude and the strength of our virtual friendships and relationships. Our avatars felt the deep pain, the empty void, and the immense loss of our virtual friend. How could someone we never met in real life cause our avatar selves to be so heartbroken? Cyrus Hush was with us from our first issue of VEJ, and we still miss him greatly. Because of his deep loss, we've all felt while moving through the grieving process, we realized that the paradigm had shifted. All of a sudden, it was no longer my avatar and me, but my avatar is me. And just as in real life, our avatar has feelings too. Over the years, we have lost many dear friends and colleagues. In the fall 2024 issue, VEJ paid tribute to 2 of them who really rocked our world and left us once again speechless and heartbroken. We lost Lorraine Mockford, real life, Lori Von Lester, Second Life, or LV as we all knew her, last spring just prior to the 2024 VWBPE conference. LV was actively involved in VWBPE as an executive committee member. From the beginning of VWBPE, LV wore many hats and served as a chair and committee member to ensure VWBPE was a great learning experience for all attendees. In fact, she was named the 2024 VWBPE Thinker Award recipient for her remarkable achievements that left an indelible mark on education and all of us. You can read more about LV in the fall 2024 issue. This past September, we also lost another close and special friend, Olive Tree Lighthouse in Second Life, Maha Abdemonium in real life from Cairo, Egypt. Olive Tree was a part of so many of our communities, including VWEC, OSCC, VWBPE, and World of Warcraft. Olive Tree wrote on her Second Life profile, I came to Second Life to learn, teach, and enjoy connecting with the educational worlds. Virtual worlds to me are about people, cultures, ideas, and the amazing sense of presence that I get while connecting with them. We all got even more from Olive Tree by getting to know and connecting with her than she probably got from us. Valerie Hill, aka our librarian Greg, wrote in an email announcing our huge loss. Olive Tree was so helpful in Second Life and across many virtual environments. She was the ambassador and leader of our VWEC Mind Task Club, which never would have started without her guidance. She lives on in our memories as she made the world a better place. The tribute in the fall 2024 issue of VEJ includes many thoughts from her friends and colleagues, as well as a beautiful tribute from their logo. As with our loss of Cyrus, the paradigm shifted even further with the loss of our beloved LV and Olive Tree. It rekindled deep emotions and it crushed our souls. With broken hearts, we now understood. Our avatars are us. We are our avatars. We are one.
That being said, the theme for our spring 2025 issue of VEJ, which will be out in May, is digital legacies. So it's an issue that we want to explore the legal issues as well as access to the designs, the builds, and creations of those that we have lost in digital and virtual worlds. What happens to their work, and how do we preserve their legacy?
We also want to pay tribute to our beloved virtual friends and colleagues whom we have lost in Second Life and other virtual worlds, open sims, and digital environments. To do this, we need everyone's help to share your stories and memories with us. So we're counting on you to help us out and tell your friends about this project so that we can hear from them as well. We tried to make this as simple as possible by creating a Google form. You can use the QR code or the URL to complete the Google form. Or we're also accepting articles about the person that you lost, especially if there's someone who made a big difference in your life as well as others, or whose work is still being used. VEJ is also working with VWEC to hold special Celebration of Lives memorials for all of those that we lost in virtual worlds and environments. We'll be holding our Celebration of Lives memorials in Second Life, Wolf Territories, and Kitely on June 27th through the 29th, 2025, with dates and times still to be announced specifically to each of those different grids. Mark your calendars now and stay tuned. The deadline for the spring issue is May 15th, 2025. I will say that again. The deadline for the spring issue is May 15th, 2025. Please make note that May 15th is fast approaching, so we hope you will not procrastinate, especially if you have someone that you want to include in our special Legacy Tribute section. For any questions, especially related to our special Memorial Tribute section of the Spring VEJ issue, or if you have an article submission, please IM me, or even better, send me a note card in Second Life, Kitely, or Wolf Territories, or send an email to me, Roxie or Rosie, and be sure to put VEJ in the subject line. You can also get information about writing for VEJ on the last 2 pages of the winter issue of VEJ and or at any of our headquarters in Second Life, Wolf Territories, and on Kitely soon. We hope you will stop by the VWBPE exhibit, and that's number 2, where you can see all of our publications and get the latest information about VEJ.
The theme for the 2025 issue is hypergridding, traversing the metaverse. We hope to hear from any of you who are experienced hypergrid travelers. It would be great if you could share some of your stories and experiences as you traverse the metaverse. The theme of the fall 2025 issue is community building. Looking for our friendships and building relationships bring many of us into Second Life, but it's our sense of belonging, our connections with each other, and the active engagement that shared communities that bring a meaning and purpose to all our virtual and real lives. So we want to explore this topic further.
And because we believe in making sure that we're taking care of our avatars as well as ourselves, the VEJ Winter 2026 theme will be the whole avatar, like educating the whole child. After all, if we believe our avatars are us, we are our avatars, we are one, then it becomes important not only to explore the effect of emotional intelligence, learning styles, and motivational strategies on our avatars, but we also need to make sure that we're taking care of our avatars' physical, cognitive, social, emotional, and overall health and well-being. So what does that mean? You tell us with your stories and contributions to our winter issue of VEJ. So, BJ, what's your favorite number?
3066-2079.
What's your favorite number?
2020. 3066-2079. I've written it so many times you'd think I would remember it. It's our new ISSN number. So what's our impact with this? As we mentioned earlier, we're excited that VEJ has an ISSN number because it, as the International Standard Serial Number, it's similar to a ISBN number for a book. So it's a really big deal for us and important for anyone who's published under VEJ. It can be a great addition to your resume or vita. However, we're not now, nor have we any plans to be a referee journal. We're practitioner-based and enthusiastically accept and publish research studies as articles as well. Having an ISSN number allows our writers to list VEJ articles as their professional work, whether they're a student, non-tenured or tenured faculty, or a practitioner. We're especially interested in working with master's and doctoral students and publishing their work in VEJ.
Did you see that? Go back a slide.
Okay, go
For
back.
Beth?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go back. One more. Okay. I was going to do it at the end, but that's okay. So let us know when you're finished, Beth. We can also give you a copy of the slide if you'd like. Okay.
Or any of the slides.
Yeah, so we can move forward. One more. In the future, we also want to explore issues beyond virtual worlds where technology is being leveraged to enhance teaching and learning, especially through the use of AI tools and resources such as Bobby on both territories. We want to discuss ways in which technology is not only enhancing learning, but also maybe distracting us from true learning. We plan to highlight digital learning in a variety of online formats, including, but not limited to, social media and gaming. And we're very interested in exploring the vast frontier of open sims and other virtual worlds, including and beyond Second Life. And finally, we're interested in the new and ongoing developments of mobile and web-based versions of browsers like Firestorm and Second Life. As trailblazers, we want to seek out new tools and technologies, discover effective practices that are grounded in authentic experiences that help achieve learning goals and demonstrate results. We want to be in front of the new technologies as a voice that drives the use of these new tools to enhance education, as opposed to letting the technology drive us. And most of all, we want to help you share your stories so others can learn with and from you and celebrate your achievements and success. Again, the VEJ Spring 2025 issue deadline for completing the Digital Legacy Google form to nominate friends or colleagues who have passed away and or for VEJ article submission is April 15th, 2025. If you have questions about your article submission or anything else about VEJ, our information is on the slide. We would especially like to have VWBPE presenters submit an article about the topic that you're presenting on here at the conference. So again, we hope you will stop by our VWBPE exhibit number 2 and check out all of the VEJ issues we have published in the past and get our latest information.
Remember, VEJ is only as good as you make it, so please share your stories.
And be sure to pick up a free copy, and I said free copy, of the Winter 2025 issue of VEJ. Enjoy every morsel and devour every bite, and be sure to share it with your colleagues and friends because VEJ is too good not to share.
And most of all, be sure to VEJ out of this world. Thank you.
And
If there are any questions, or if we have time, we're happy to answer them.
sure, thank you.
Yes. Any questions from our audience? I see applause. Applause. Hey, Agile Bill, saw you come in. That was a great session. Now, who's ready to write? Oh, we have a question from Beth. My question about AI is, how can I use AI to generate images without inadvertently stealing from the work of other artists?
That's a tough one because we're not really sure where some of these AI models are being trained. And I think there's a concern for copyrighted material being used to feed these models. And if indeed that's the case, we have some significant issues with AI. I'm hoping that we can segregate the public information from copyrighted information so we don't have to fear that we're inadvertently using somebody's music, somebody's images, somebody's words when we don't even realize it.
I think the other piece of it is that because that we don't know where it's coming from or who's using it, I think that when you cite something as far as your work, I think if you're using AI generated, I think we need to say it was AI generated, kind of like we did with the cover and with maybe even sharing the process of how you were able to generate that picture or graphic.
There are some new tools that Google is coming out with that really leverage your own work. So that I think it's Laptop LM that will allow you to take content that you own or have access to legally and put that together and then begin to ask questions of that data, which it has some amazing potential. It's again, if you are taking copyrighted content to put into that, the results, I think, are going to be tainted because you won't necessarily realize that it's combining your content with something that may be copyrighted. As long as you keep them separate, it sounds like that program is going to serve you well as a tool to kind of use different tools to dig into your own data and summarize it.
So Beth actually said that in the chat that she said that Marie Vance said that she has an academic subscription to an AI so she can choose her sources for where she's getting her material. And I just put in there that I wanted to look into it, but also I think that would make an awesome article for VEJ. So anything like that, I think that we're asking questions about is a great topic for people to write about if they've got the expertise to share with other readers and people who are interested. Would we like an article on notebook LM? Totally, thank you. Yes, we would be very interested in that. Notebook LM is a fantastic tool, so yes, we would love that. And again, VEJ loves pictures as well, so if you go into our winter issue, you can see how people in getting you to Wolf Territories, that Kim and Cooper, when they wrote that, actually made screen captures so people could see what it was that they needed to do. So any of that kind of thing is really important, which again is why we decided not to do in the early days a newsletter, but to do a journal. And because we're publishing online at ISSU, we don't have a page limit or a number of, it used to be we had character limit. We don't have that anymore thanks to the bandwidth that's available and updated technology. So we don't have a limit of how many articles or how many pages we can put in, which is it's good news and it's bad news because as we're getting close to the end and somebody sends me another article, it's like, well, do we save it for the next one or do we go ahead and put it in? Whereas before you would be limited. So
yeah, we had limits on the file size and we've spent hours because it takes your content and then you need to build a PDF file out of it and to try and shrink that PDF file so that it would be under the bar and we would be able to upload it. And we haven't had that issue since we've been relaunching VEJ, which is really good news for us. Also, if you're doing images, photos for us, please don't just use the default settings if you're doing screen captures inside of Second Life or Firestorm, just dig down into that photo component and look at higher resolutions that you can manually override so we have higher quality images that we can put into VEJ. It makes a big difference if you have a nice high quality image when the publication is actually available.
Totally. So I'm not sure if there's any more questions. I think I
Well, thank you. Actually, we're at the end of our time. And, you know, check out the booth. It's exhibit number 02. And, of course, everyone write for VEJ. Thank you, Roxie and BJ, for a fantastic session. That was so much fun.
And thank you, Neiro.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your help
Yes.
in making this possible.